Howdy y'all, Los here. This here's a habanero and it's been growing for a few years. I've been taking it in and out of the ground. This year I put it in here to see how big it would get, and as you can see it got pretty dang big. I've always had a plan on making this into a bonsai. So what we're going to do today is we're going to cut this down real short, and we're going to get this out of the ground and get it into a container because it is getting to be winter time and we don't want this to be sitting out. So without further ado, let's go get this going. First things first, let's cut off all the fruit. There's tons of fruit here. One thing that you should know about me, I don't eat that much spicy food, so even having a jalapeno plant is something that I don't normally even have. And having a habanero, I understand they're a little spicier, probably more spicier than jalapeno. So I'm gonna donate these to whoever wants them. So let's cut them all off and see who wants some habanero. So here they're green, they'll ripen up. Put them in a dark spot, they'll ripen up in a couple days. All right, so I've got a ton of habaneros, a lot of unripe ones, but those will ripen up. So I'm gonna give this away to somebody. Let's go find somebody. All right, got all the fruits off, as much as I actually can really take. We're cutting a lot of this tree off anyways. So now we're gonna bring it down real low. So let's go ahead and bring it down here and try to find a good spot to give it a chop. So let's pull off all its supports. This thing started getting really heavy, top heavy, and it was leaning over. So I put a few struts here, a few things to help it stay upright, which definitely did its job. So let's look at the branch structure here, or at least our trunk structure. So we got a pretty gnarly looking root base here, flares off. We'll control that a bit. Hopefully we can mess with the roots a bit, but for now we're not going to be doing that. So we've got our first branch. We'll get rid of that, all that lower stuff. And then we have up here and then a cluster up here. So I think a good spot to at least get started would be cutting off this top portion, which looks like it's been the most vigorous this season. So let's do that first. All right, it's a big chop. And as Nigel would say, so here I go. Timber! And boy, howdy. Like this itself can get started as a bonsai, you know, at the right pruning. Let's see here, we can make it, at least get the cool little structure here. Too late in the season to try to do cuttings. I may be able to accomplish cuttings in the greenhouse, but I don't really see the need to have more of these trees at the moment. I just don't. I don't eat habaneros. Yeah, there's a whole cluster of them there. You know, it's got a nice upright style there, so I mean you could make that into a bonsai. And if you wanted to, I suppose you could probably have success turning this into a cutting. Let's see. Yeah, that would be cool. Anyways, so let's continue finding more things to cut off of this. So we got a nice long top branch up here that's just coming off of the main first branch. Let's just go ahead and pull it way back. And here we go. Perfect. I want to get rid of this lower growth here. Stuff that grows along the bottom. Any crotch growth. And once we get it into a container, we can prune it a little more if we want. This big old branch is just gonna, we'll cut it up here for now, just in case we want to keep some of it. And there we go. All right, so we are left now with our yardadori, if you will. And now let's prepare the container. So that's one of the most important things when you dig things out. You need to prepare the container that this is going to live in next. So you may want to get that done first. So we're gonna get that done now. Let's go. All right, just gonna get a few handfuls of some garden soil. This is for in-ground use. So it's got a lot of heavier bark in it. Which is great for sifting out, and then you can use it in your bonsai soil. We're gonna use substrate here. Some solid soil right there. Oh, got a little pocket of perlite and didn't make it. At the very bottom there. There we go. Okay, soil's ready. So here's the hard part. Now we've done yamadori before, so we just want to see how far some of these go. As you can see, we've got that one goes quite far out of here so far. We're just going to go around the perimeter, sort of chop around, but not too hard. Ran into another one right there. Kind of goes way out by the cilantro here. I imagine I can just pull this whole thing out right now. This ground is so soft. I bet you this doesn't even have a great hold into the soil. Yeah. And because there's no top there, early on we got rid of the taproot, and I believe this is the taproot right here. And it's actually, we've diverted it over to the side, and this may be the taproot here. We're gonna go ahead and try to just help these roots out without really yanking them too hard. We got a nice radial base on this already. So, I mean, literally, I'm on the bottom of it. There's nothing on the bottom holding this thing down. It's all these lateral roots that are just spread out. You can see I can just kind of yank her out if I'm careful. There it is. There's my habanero. And let's get in for this look at the roots here. Yeah, we can see the taproot right here. How it comes down from the middle. And there she is, a taproot. I wonder if I can get rid of it for now. I don't really want to mess with the roots. That's something we can do in the spring. That one needs to be dealt with. But we'll deal with all that in spring. Let's get this into a container so that this bed can be reused for something else. As you can see, that's not going to have an easy time fitting. So let's just go ahead and cut everything that's just too long. Go around and give it a little bowl cut, you know, the kind that you get as a kid from mom. Some good feeder roots, we'll leave those alone. Put it up about this high. Good, looking good. All right, there's not much, and we're gonna layer these roots in here too. A technique I've been watching from Grow Bonsai on YouTube. I may need to mix up another batch here. This is just old bonsai soil, just recycling it. All right, lastly, let's just go ahead and clean up the top here and clean off any branches that we don't want. All right, that's gonna live in the greenhouse during the winter time. Right now it's unseasonably hot for it being the middle of December. I'm sweating out in the garden. So, as you can see, there's plenty of growth still happening as well. But for now, we're ready for winter with the habanero, and we'll see what the future brings for this. Let's keep moving. This here is a willow leaf ficus root cutting, which I have let grown, and then maybe a year and a half ago or so, I put into this container. But before I did that, I wrapped the roots over a rock and set it real deep in this container. I'm real excited to pull it out and see what we have and get started making a new bonsai. Let's check this out. I'm super excited. This is my first root over rock that is gotten to a point where I can actually check it out. I've got lots of root over rock projects, but this one may be ready to go. We will find out today. I actually don't know how long it's been in here. I know at least over a year. So let's go ahead and open it up. We got this fine root maker pot. And these are completely reusable. Can't forget to get the bottom. Okay, let's see where the rock is in here. Lots of roots. Just kind of find the rock in here. There's the limestone. Trying to find the root structure to see if we have a hold. Let's take the wire off and see if the roots are actually holding on, as opposed to the wire holding on. So here's one wire. Where's that going? Okay, here's the other side. Nice long roots. These are going to help us kind of style this root over rock here in a little bit. I'm pretty sure at this point this rock is being held on by these roots, because I don't feel any sort of wiggle between the roots and the rock here, so it's kind of cool. Yeah, I think it fused to the rock pretty good. You got a whole mat of roots. Yeah, I mean, it's literally hanging on. Like there's a pocket of roots that have wrapped around. Yeah, and the big old root is wrapped around the bottom here, and that's what's hanging on to the rock. Yeah. Okay, cool. I knew it would hang on, and it did. So now we've got these longer roots here, you see? And we'll bury it probably down to here and expose some of the roots. And some of these longer roots we can get down into the soil and let the top of the root thicken and fatten up. Okay. This is pretty gnarly. You can see where I put sphagnum moss in between the rock and the tree, so that there's some place for the roots to sort of hang on to. Yeah, that is hanging on. We got a few, not a fuse, but yeah, we got a bifurcation there. This is cool. So we'll do that. All right, I picked this out. I don't have many bonsai containers to choose from right at the moment, so this will do. So I'm thinking we get her in here. I don't know, something like seductive pose or something. I don't know, I think that looks kind of cool, and we'll go with that. And we'll go ahead and we'll have the soil level to be right about there or so. That way we can see some of the roots and set up some of these other roots to go where we want them to go and thicken up. This one comes from the very bottom. These big fat roots here. This is the one that's wrapping around the bottom, so this one actually splits off right there. I think we can cut it just right at that spot. This one actually was what was holding on to the whole bottom of the rock here, which was this root right here. Another root cutting from a root cutting of a willow leaf ficus. It just keeps going. Okay, see now without that root, the tree can now come off of the rock. But as you can see, it's made quite a little cavity in there. So it looks like we can just go ahead and put that back in there and we'll be just fine. For the bottom. Far down we want it to go. I'll put it towards the back a little bit too. Something like that. doing a layering of the roots that I have. Some of the lower ones I'm going to put on the bottom, lift up the top ones, get a layer of soil in between them, and just keep doing that with all the different layers of roots that you have. And this will make sure that the roots aren't touching each other too much. I mean, they'll touch each other eventually, but this will reduce that and give them some more room to grow. Pull these fine ones off because those fine ones aren't going to do well here out in the open. They're just too exposed. And they're going to die off. So that little guy I want to keep, if I can. And we're going to go and put a bunch of moss on here too, if I've got enough. Let's go get it watered. Low on some of my moss here. We've been using a lot of it lately, so I'm going to be conservative a bit with it so that it can regenerate, but we do want some to protect some of these little vulnerable areas. So I'm just going to work this stuff into the soil. There is a kind of mud behind it, so you want to thin that out as much as you can. And I know it looks kind of weird that I'm pressing it down and it looks like that, but I assure you that this is going to do just fine. As you can see with our other willow leaf here, we did the same kind of process. You squish it in there and it's going to fill in. That moss is going to perk back up and it's going to fill in real nice. So don't you worry about that. And the mud helps that moss kick in a little bit. So I got this moss right here. This kind of, ooh, I want that stuff like, where's a good spot for it? Maybe like right here. Moss spores, so it'll keep regenerating. We just got to give it time and a little bit of light. Not too much light though. Maybe another rock right here. Kind of complement that limestone there. Let's find something. gap with some soil. Probably mud will be best choice. Maybe a little bit of moss sticking up from it.